released in 1990 and is directed by Jerry Zucker, who's directed such films like Airplane, First Night, and Rat Race. And this film stars Patrick Swayze, Demi Moore, Whoopi Goldberg, and Tony Goldwyn, who, as I am looking at it, Tony Goldwyn was the asshole in The Last Samurai. He was that asshole general. Thank God! That was driving me crazy while watching this movie. I'm like, who the hell is this asshole? I've seen this asshole on screen. Who is this asshole? He was that asshole. And this film was recommended to me by one of my coworkers and just one of the most genuine people on the planet. I am so happy to be able to consider him a friend of mine. Kyle Rausch, thank you very much for the recommendation. I don't recall why you recommended this movie. I think, as I said in my last review, that I think this was because you saw the Family Guy episode where Peter was making fun of Roadhouse and then all of a sudden he went ghost and we laughed over it because funny and things. I think that's why. Regardless of the reason why we're watching this movie, I have actually never seen this movie all the way through. Just thinking about it, I have not actually seen it all the way through. I think I saw the first part of it when it originally came out, and then when we got to the pottery scene, my parents were like, no, you ain't watching this, go into the bedroom. Because pottery was a no-no in my house. Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore have just moved into their new apartment. Demi Moore is an aspiring artist, and Patrick Swayze is an accomplished banker. That is a nice setup to have if you're going to be an artist, find someone that's really into finances. And when these two are not having sex with Clay, they take long walks down very dark alleys. One night, the couple gets mugged in one of these alleys, and Patrick Swayze ends up dead over it. But don't worry, that's not a spoiler, because of the title. And Patrick Swayze comes back as a ghost because as he discovers that this mugging was not as accidental as it seemed. Nominated for Best Picture of 1990. Why? Well, because it made the most money of any movie that year. But hey, it had a couple of wins under its belt with the Academy Awards, Best Original Screenplay, and Best Supporting Actress in Whoopi Goldberg. Really? I mean, I'm a fan of Whoopi Goldberg. She's fine. I love her in the first Sister Act movie, not the second one. You can check out my thoughts on that stupid movie on this channel. And her in this movie, I mean, she was fine. She added just a breath of life and a breath of fresh air to this, what could have been a very dramatic and very overly traumatic premise. But Best Supporting Actress? Really? I'm going to take a look and see what her competition was that year. Best Supporting Actress 1990. Let's see. So we have Whoopi Goldberg for Ghost. We have Annette Bening for The Grifters. Lorraine Baracco for Goodfellas. Diane Ladd for Wild at Heart. And Mary McDonald for Dances with Wolves. Yeah, I guess she should have won it that year. But she plays this psychic, and she is the bridge between the supernatural world that Patrick Swayze lives in, and then also the real world, so that she can communicate what Patrick Swayze is trying to say to Demi Moore. And when I say psychic, I mean that she is a fraud. I guess her family had done it for a couple of generations, so she thought that she would just do it, try to make it a buck. So it really throws her when she starts hearing Patrick Swayze when she's doing a reading. You ever do that where you're hired to do something and you have no idea what you're doing, and then all of a sudden it happens and you're like, oh, okay, apparently I can do this. Not like that's ever happened to me. It's just so I'm trying to figure out why this movie is such a pop culture type film. Everyone has definitely heard about Ghost. They know that Demi Moore and Patrick Swayze are in the movie. But why do they know this movie? Well, there's really only one answer to that, and that is with the very hot and very sensual clay pottery making, love making scene. It's like the cinematographer and the director really wanted to put a handjob scene in this movie, but they couldn't, so they used clay. And things happen. Decades away from a film like Moonlight. So how can we metaphorically put a handjob scene in this movie? Well, let's just use some wet pottery clay. I don't know the lyrics, I'm sorry. But it's a really nice scene. It's almost comical now because everyone has parodied it at least once in their franchise. Simpsons, Family Guy, everyone has done it. So when I actually see it in the context of what it was meant for, it's almost comical. So thank you, society, for ruining what could have been a nice metaphorical handjob scene. Thank you so much. But everything else surrounding this movie, I was not that impressed with. This story is very predictable. I predicted who was going to be the villain, who was going to set things up, and put things in motion. I guessed all that in the first 5 minutes. And sure enough, beat by beat by beat, everything played out for me. And just because a film is predictable does not mean it's bad. I mean, heck, I predicted what was going to happen in the movie Coco halfway through the film. I start bawling my eyes out halfway through, and then my wife looks over, like, why are you crying? Nothing is happening on screen. Why are you so emotional? I know this is gonna end. And it's beautiful. Here, I know how this is gonna end. I know how this is gonna play out. And these characters, I guess, I'm not gravitating towards them as, say, another movie like Coco. You have an aspiring artist and a well-off banker. I'm not connecting with either of them. Plus, Patrick Swayze I always found to be very sculpturesque, so I couldn't really relate to any of his characters. Just because all of them would take their shirts off and he would have, like, 24-pack abs. His abs would have abs. Though I think he does an okay job in his performance aspect with this film. Is he an actor that can really get to those deep emotional moments? No. I mean, the guy dies, and he supposedly is just stuck in this rut of just watching his wife live out the rest of her days. And I felt nothing with him. You definitely feel a lot more with Demi Moore's character. She and her best friend are going through a lot of their stuff together, trying to find out, okay, what can I get rid of? What do I want to hold on to? And you can tell that she doesn't want to throw away anything, which I would totally understand if that were to happen to me in my situation, if I was in her situation. Demi Moore, you know, she did a lot of great things in the 90s, and I haven't seen or heard from her in a very long time. I always knew her as the woman that has just beautiful vocal fry. Just that raspy talking in your throat that's really damaging your vocal cords type voice. But it made her distinguished. I don't know, Kyle, I think in the end this movie is really only popular and famous and has made its way into pop culture just because of one scene, and everything else around it is a little too melodramatic. Case in point, when Patrick Swayze realizes that he's dead and he's looking over his dead physical body, all he can do is just go cross-eyed and make this shocked face. Huh? But good on them for trying. I'm gonna give Ghost 3 out of 5 Blu-rays.
Not exactly what I had in mind, but not bad.
Alright everyone, now comes my favorite part in my videos where I randomly select which movie I'm going to be watching next. So let's take a look. Don't know why I went falsetto there. A nice little animated picture, one that, gosh, I know I have seen that I actually can't remember anything from, but it's Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. The movie where they can make food from the sky. Oh, how revolutionary that would be. Done with that 3D animated style. I picked this movie up because when I used to work at Sears, you know Sears, that one retail store that can never seem to fully go away. I always worked right next to the TVs, and on the TV they had this looping display, this looping clip, and all of it was Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. And I got to the point where I'm just like, I have to see this movie. I have to see what's going on here. So I'll be very happy to check it out again. Hey, thank you very much again, Kyle, for the recommendation. If any of you have recommendations of films that you want me to review on here, please leave your comment below this video or go to my Facebook page, my Instagram, or my Twitter. Leave your recommendation there. And if I have access to it, I will watch, review it, and give you a shout out on the channel. So guys, have you seen Ghost? What did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across it because of this video, please comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And if you like what you saw here, if you like my take on movies, then hit that subscribe button. It helps me out a lot with growing this channel. If you have friends, if you have family members, if you see strangers walking down the street that you know love movies, send them over my way and have them hit that subscribe button so that we can keep growing this thing. And remember, if we hit 1,000 subscribers, I will torture myself by recording myself watching Arachnophobia, which is a movie that scares the living shit out of me that I haven't watched since I was a kid, never want to watch again. And it's just gonna be great for you, great viewing. Yeah. So everyone, I will see you next time with my review of Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. So in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.